The Psychology of Touch 9 Ways to Make a Mature Woman Fall in Love. Psychology Tricks. Love is not about how much you say, but how deeply you make someone feel without words. Let's talk honestly for a moment. Have you ever sat beside a woman, close enough to feel the quiet between you, and sensed that something could happen, yet nothing did? That subtle tension. That unspoken possibility. And still, it slipped away. Most men never understand why. Because attraction doesn't begin with clever words. It begins earlier, much earlier. It begins in your presence, in your stillness, in the way you carry your energy when you're near her. Not what you say, but how you exist in that space. And then there is touch. Touch is powerful. Not loud, not obvious, but deeply felt. It is the kind of language that doesn't need permission through words, only awareness, timing, and emotional intelligence. By the time you truly understand it, you stop overthinking every move. You stop second-guessing yourself. And something shifts inside you. Calm replaces tension. Clarity replaces confusion. But let's make one thing very clear. This is not about manipulation. This is not about pushing boundaries. This is not about pretending to be someone you're not. This is about awareness. Two people, one space. A quiet moment where energy speaks louder than conversation. And you simply respond, without rushing, without forcing. Most men either move too fast or they freeze completely. Both come from the same place, uncertainty. But when you understand the psychology behind touch, you don't chase the moment. You recognize it. And when you recognize it, you move naturally with calm, grounded confidence. Now here's something many overlook. A mature woman doesn't respond to noise. She's lived enough to see through surface-level charm. She's experienced the talkers, the ones who try too hard, the ones who rush connection. What reaches her now is different. She feels drawn to a man who is steady, a man who knows how to hold space, a man who understands timing. There is a quiet strength in that, a balance between warmth and control, between closeness and restraint. And when touch comes from that place, it doesn't feel forced. It feels right. So ask yourself this. Have you ever felt deeply connected to someone without needing many words? If your answer is yes, then you've already experienced the beginning of what most men are still trying to figure out. Way number 1. The pause before touch. Everything that is real begins in silence. That's not just poetry, it's strategy. And when it comes to attraction, especially with a mature woman, silence and timing matter more than anything you say or do. Way number 1 is simple, but most men miss it completely. The pause before touch. Not the touch itself, the moment right before it. Picture this clearly. You're sitting next to her. Close, but not forced. Same couch. Same quiet space. Conversation slows down. Energy shifts. Your arm moves slightly toward her, then stops. That stop is not hesitation. That is awareness. That is control. That is where psychology tricks and female psychology begin to work in your favor. Because in that tiny pause, something powerful happens inside her mind. Anticipation, curiosity, emotional activation. You must understand this. People don't fall in love from what happens. They fall in love from what they feel is about to happen. That is how to fall in love works on a deeper level. It lives in the space between actions, not the actions themselves. Don't rush. Most men rush. They either go in too fast, killing the tension, or they freeze completely, killing the moment. Both lose. Be the man who can sit inside that pause without panicking. That is rare. That is attractive. That is control. When your hand moves slightly and then stops, you are sending a signal without words. I see you. I feel this. I'm choosing not to rush it. And a mature woman feels that instantly because her emotional awareness is sharper, deeper, more refined than younger women. She's not reacting to the touch. She's reacting to the intention behind it. That is female psychology at its core. She reads energy before action. She feels presence before words. So when you pause, you create a silent question in her mind. Is he going to touch me? And that question builds emotional tension. And tension, when done right, builds attraction. Don't underestimate this. That pause can be more powerful than the touch itself. Because once you touch, the mystery is gone. But before you touch, her imagination starts working for you. And imagination is where attraction grows strongest. That is one of the most effective psychology tricks you will ever learn. Let her feel the moment expanding. Let the silence stretch just enough to become noticeable, but not awkward. There's a difference. Awkward comes from insecurity. Silence comes from confidence. You must embody the second. Sit relaxed. Breathe slowly. Don't fidget. Don't overthink. Just be present. Because presence is what makes that pause feel intentional instead of uncertain. And here's where most men get it wrong. They think doing more creates attraction. No, doing less with awareness creates it faster. This is about precision, not effort. A small movement, a controlled stop, a calm presence. That combination speaks louder than any line you could ever say. And when she feels that, she begins to lean in emotionally before she ever leans in physically. That is how to fall in love starts quietly, almost invisibly. You're not chasing a reaction. You're creating an experience. And mature women value experiences over gestures. Anyone can touch. Very few know when not to. That's the difference. Don't touch just because you can. Touch because the moment has earned it. And before that moment arrives, respect the pause. Liven it. Let it do the work for you. Because when you master this, you're no longer guessing. You're leading without pressure. You're communicating without words. And you're allowing attraction to grow naturally instead of forcing it. That is the essence of real connection. Calm, patient, intentional. So next time you sit next to her, don't rush. Don't freeze. Move and then stop. Let the silence speak. Let the tension build. And watch how everything begins to shift without you saying a single word. Way number 2, incidental touch that feels unplanned. This is where subtlety becomes your greatest advantage. A light brush when shifting positions. Your fingers briefly meeting hers as you pass something across the table. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that calls attention to itself. That is the point. The moment should feel like it just happened, not like it was designed. Because the mind doesn't respond to force. It responds to what feels natural. And when something feels natural, it lowers resistance. It creates ease. It opens the door without knocking. Understand this clearly. The brain is always asking one silent question: is this safe? When your touch feels casual, unforced, almost accidental, the answer becomes yes. And once that door is open, attraction has room to grow. That is why a high-value man never rushes to make an impression. He allows moments to unfold. He trusts timing. He understands that masculine energy is not about pushing forward, but about holding steady and letting the moment come to him. But here is where most men lose the entire advantage. They repeat it too fast. One light touch happens, and then they chase it with another. And another. Don't do that. Don't rush. Don't stack moments on top of each other. That is where intention becomes visible. And when intention becomes heavy, it breaks the illusion of natural connection. What felt effortless now feels planned. What felt safe now feels uncertain. Instead, you must create one moment, then space. Let it breathe. Let it settle. Let her mind replay it without interruption. Because what lingers in silence often grows stronger than what is repeated out loud. A single, well-timed touch can stay with her longer than 10 forced ones. That is discipline. That is awareness. That is how a high-value man separates himself from the crowd. Think of it like this. Attraction is not built through constant action. It is built through contrast. Presence, then absence. Connection, then space. When you give her a moment and then step back, you allow her emotions to move towards you on their own. And that movement is powerful. Because when she leans in emotionally, even slightly, she begins to invest. And once she invests, she becomes more open, more engaged, more curious. Be calm. Be intentional without looking intentional. That is the balance. That is the art. Masculine energy is quiet, but it is felt. It does not need to announce itself. It shows up in timing and restraint, in knowing when to act and when to hold back. And when you master this, You don't just attract women, you create an experience they remember. Also, understand something deeper. Mature women, especially, are highly sensitive to energy and authenticity. They have seen enough to recognize patterns. They can tell when something is forced. They can feel when a man is trying too hard. So don't try to impress. Don't try to create moments artificially. Let them happen. Guide them gently, but never push them. That is how you build trust without saying a word. And when that light, incidental touch happens, don't react to it. Don't look at her for validation. Don't pause awkwardly. Just continue as if nothing happened. That is what makes it powerful, because confidence is not in the act itself. It is in how little you need to explain it. A high-value man doesn't seek approval for his presence. He assumes it is welcome, but he never forces it. Remember this. To attract women, you don't need grand gestures. You need awareness. You need timing. You need restraint. The smallest moments done right carry the greatest weight. And when you learn to create those moments without pressure, without urgency, without neediness, you become unforgettable in a way most men never understand. So slow down. Pay attention. Let your actions feel like they belong to the moment, not to a plan. Because the more natural it feels, the deeper it lands. And in that quiet space between action and restraint, attraction begins to grow calmly, steadily, and powerfully. If you understand this, then act like it. Don't rush. Don't force. Let your presence do the work. One natural touch, then space. That's where attraction breathes and grows. Most men overdo it and lose the moment. You won't. You move with control. You move with calm precision. If this hits you, drop this in the comments right now. I create attraction through calm, not force. Like the video, subscribe for more sharp insight, and remember, the less you chase the moment, the more the moment stays with you. Way number 3, touch that grounds, not excites. Way number 3 is simple, but most men miss it completely. Touch that grounds, not excites. Understand this deeply. A mature woman is not looking for stimulation first. She is looking for safety, for calm, for emotional steadiness. That is the doorway. If you rush to create sparks, you lose her. If you create stillness, you draw her in. This is where old Stoic wisdom becomes powerful in modern relationships. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength is what she feels through you. Not your words, not your looks, your presence, your energy, your control, your iron mind. When your touch is slow, deliberate, and unhurried, it communicates something deeper than attraction. It says, I am not here to take. I am here to lead calmly. And that changes everything. A brief, gentle touch near her hand while you're talking. A moment of stillness instead of movement. No grabbing, no tension. No need to prove anything. That stillness is what most men fear because it feels like doing nothing. But it is not nothing. It is control. It is awareness. It is Stoicism when in action. And she feels it instantly because her nervous system is always scanning, always reading. She is not reacting to what you say. She is reacting to how you make her feel. And calm, grounded touch lowers her defenses without you saying a single word. It allows her to breathe differently around you. It allows her to stay longer without knowing why. This is not manipulation. This is alignment. Modern life is loud, fast, chaotic. Everyone is chasing stimulation, phones, notifications, endless noise. So when you become the one man who brings calm instead of pressure, you stand out without trying. You become rare. You become memorable. As Lao Tzu said, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. That is your model. Slow down. Don't rush the moment. Let the moment come to you. When your touch carries that same unhurried energy, it tells her you are not desperate for an outcome. And that is what builds trust. That is what builds attraction over time. Repeat this to yourself. Don't excite too early. Ground first. Don't rush. Slow down. Don't chase reactions. Create comfort, because comfort is what opens the door to deeper connection. And deeper connection is what makes her choose to stay. Most men try to impress. You must learn to stabilize. Most men try to create tension. You must learn to create ease. That is the difference between temporary attention and lasting interest. In real life, this shows up in small moments. Sitting next to her without leaning in too quickly. Letting your presence fill the space instead of your words. Allowing a natural pause before any physical contact. And when you do touch, it is light, calm, and brief. Then you pull back. You don't linger. You don't force. You let her process it. You let her come closer if she chooses. This is leadership without pressure. This is masculine energy expressed through restraint, not action. And restraint is powerful because it shows you are in control of yourself. And self-control is attractive at every level. This is why old Stoic wisdom continues to guide modern men. Because attraction is not about tricks. It is about inner state. When your mind is steady, your actions become precise. When your energy is calm, your presence becomes magnetic. That is the iron mind you must build. Not for her, for yourself. Because when you are grounded, everything changes. Your voice slows down. Your movements become intentional. Your touch becomes meaningful. And she feels it without needing to analyze it. So remember this clearly. Don't try to excite her immediately. Ground her. Relax her. Give her a space where she feels safe to stay. And from that space, attraction grows naturally, effortlessly, quietly. This is how you win without forcing anything. This is Stoicism win in real life. Calm, controlled, unshakable. Way number 4. Withdrawing touch at the right moment. Way number 4 is where everything shifts, and most men miss it because they misunderstand what attraction really is. They think it's about doing more, staying longer, adding pressure, but it's not. It's about timing, precision, and emotional control. That is the real game. You touch briefly, naturally, without hesitation, and then you remove it first. Not because you're unsure, not because you're pulling away, but because you choose to. That is the difference. That single decision communicates something powerful without saying a word. I am comfortable. I am not chasing an outcome. I am in control of myself. And in the world of female psychology, that message carries weight. Don't linger too long. Don't wait for her reaction. Don't seek approval through contact. Be the one who ends the moment. That is what creates intrigue. Because now her mind starts working quietly, subtly, but deeply. Why did he stop? What was that? Was that intentional? And here's the truth about psychology tricks and how to fall in love. What is incomplete stays longer in the mind than what is finished. That is not manipulation. That is human nature. Unanswered moments create emotional tension, and emotional tension builds attraction. You must understand this clearly. Attraction grows in space, not in pressure. The pause after the touch matters more than the touch itself. The absence becomes louder than the presence. And this is where most men lose the opportunity. They overextend. They repeat too quickly. They try to confirm instead of allowing curiosity to develop. Don't do that. Let the moment breathe. Let her sit with it. Because when you withdraw first, you are not rejecting, you are creating room for her to come closer emotionally. That is how to fall in love in a natural, unforced way. Think about it like this. A great conversation doesn't need constant talking. It needs pauses, rhythm, and control. Touch works the same way. Be intentional. Be calm. Be unpredictable in a grounded way. That is what makes your presence memorable. In female psychology, certainty mixed with a hint of mystery is incredibly attractive. Not confusion, not inconsistency, but controlled restraint. You must become a man who is not driven by impulse, but guided by awareness. That is where psychology tricks become powerful, not because you are trying to influence, but because you understand human behavior deeply. And when you understand it, you stop overdoing things. You stop forcing moments. You stop chasing reactions. Instead, you create experiences. Small ones, subtle ones, but ones that stay. Because here's something most men never realize. It's not the intensity of the moment she remembers, it's how it made her feel afterward. And when you withdraw touch at the right moment, you leave behind a feeling that lingers. A question without an answer. A moment without closure. And that is what draws her back in. So remember this clearly, don't rush. Don't overcommit too early. Don't try to prove anything through physical contact. Be the man who knows when to step in and, more importantly, when to step back. That balance is rare. That balance is attractive. That balance is how to fall in love without ever forcing it. If this hit you, don't just watch, apply it. Like the video, subscribe for more sharp insights, and drop this in the comments right now to lock it into your mind. I create attraction through timing, not chasing. Way number 5, touch that matches the conversation. Way number 5, touch that matches the conversation is where most men either create real connection or quietly lose it without even realizing why. Listen carefully. Never touch during a shallow moment. Don't reach for physical contact when the conversation is empty, rushed, or surface level. That is where most mistakes happen. Touch without depth feels misplaced. It feels mechanical, and a mature woman senses that instantly. She doesn't respond to random gestures. She responds to alignment. So be intentional. Be present. You must understand this. Touch is not the beginning of connection. It is the reflection of it. Now here's the shift. Touch belongs in shared depth. It belongs in those moments when something real is happening between you. When she's opening up about something personal. When she's laughing in a way that's unguarded, not polite but genuine. When the room slows down and there's a quiet understanding between you without words needing to fill the space. That is where a simple, light touch becomes powerful. Not because of pressure, not because of technique, but because of timing. Because it matches the emotional frequency of the moment. Think about it like this. If your words and her emotions are in sync, your touch becomes an extension of that harmony. It doesn't interrupt. It completes. A light touch on her hand when she's sharing something meaningful says, "I hear you." A brief touch on her arm when she laughs says, "I'm here with you." It's subtle. It's respectful. But it's deeply felt. And this is where a high-value man separates himself. He doesn't chase moments. He recognizes them. He doesn't force connection. He allows it to unfold, and then he meets it with calm, grounded masculine energy. And understand this clearly. When done right, that light touch becomes anchoring. Her mind doesn't just register the contact. It links it to the emotion she was feeling in that exact moment. Safety, warmth, ease, presence. You must see the bigger picture here. Attraction isn't built through isolated actions. It's built through associations. Her brain quietly connects how she feels with who she's with. So if she feels calm, open, and seen, and your touch appears in that moment, she begins to associate those feelings with you. That is how you attract women without forcing anything. That is how emotional connection becomes natural, not scripted. But don't rush this. Don't interrupt her when she's not there yet. Be patient. Be aware. A high-value man knows that timing is everything. He waits for the right emotional window. He listens more than he speaks. He observes more than he acts. And when the moment arrives, he doesn't hesitate, but he also doesn't overdo it. One touch, then space. Always leave room for her to feel, to process, to lean in if she chooses. That is confidence. That is controlled masculine energy. Let's go deeper. Many men think attraction is about doing more talking, more touching, more effort. That's wrong. Attraction is about doing the right thing at the right time. Nothing more. Nothing forced. When your touch aligns with her emotional state, it feels natural. It feels safe. And most importantly, it feels rare. Because very few men operate at that level of awareness. Most interrupt the moment. You must not. Be the man who enhances the moment. And here's something subtle but powerful. When you match your touch to the conversation, you're also communicating emotional intelligence without saying a word. You're showing that you can read the room, that you can feel her rhythm, that you're not just physically present, you're mentally and emotionally there too. That is deeply attractive. That is what draws a mature woman in. Not noise, not performance, but presence. Grounded, calm, and intentional. So remember this. Don't touch to create connection. Touch because connection already exists. Be patient enough to wait for depth. Be aware enough to recognize it. and be confident enough to act without overthinking when the moment is right. That is how a high value man moves. That is how masculine energy feels steady, controlled, and aligned. And that is how you truly attract women, not through effort, but through understanding. Way number 6, respecting her space first. Way number 6, respecting her space first, and understand this deeply because most men get it wrong not by doing too little, but by doing too much, too soon, without awareness. This may sound counterintuitive, but restraint is power. Control is attraction. A man who can hold himself back is a man who stands out immediately. When she leans away, you don't follow. You don't close the gap. You don't rush to fix the distance. You stay grounded. If she shifts, you adjust calmly, without tension, without urgency. That silent response communicates something far more powerful than words ever could. I see you. I respect you. I am not here to take, I am here to understand. And that right there is where emotional connection begins. As the old Stoic wisdom teaches, he who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. You are not trying to control her. You are mastering yourself. That is the difference. That is Stoicism when in action. In today's fast, reactive world where everyone is chasing attention, reacting instantly, and pushing for results, the man who pauses, who observes, who allows space, he becomes rare. And rarity creates value. Remember this, attraction does not grow in pressure. It grows in space. Space allows curiosity. Space allows comfort. Space allows her to lean back in on her terms. And when she chooses to come closer, when she initiates that subtle shift toward you, that moment carries weight. That moment means something, because it was not taken. It was given. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Apply that here. You do not control her reactions. You control your presence. You control your pace. You control your energy. Be still. Be aware. Be disciplined. That is the iron mind. And women, especially mature women, feel that immediately. They have lived enough to recognize the difference between a man who needs validation and a man who is complete within himself. When you respect her space, you show emotional intelligence. You show patience. You show that you are not driven by impulse, but guided by intention. And that creates safety. Not boring safety, but grounded, attractive, masculine safety. Don't underestimate this. A light touch means nothing if it comes from need. But even the absence of touch becomes powerful when it comes from control. That is the paradox. That is the game most men never understand. They think more contact creates more connection. It doesn't. The right timing creates connection. The right restraint creates tension. The right awareness builds desire. So don't rush. Don't fill every silence. Don't chase every movement. Let her breathe. Let the moment expand. Let the space speak. Because in that space, she begins to feel you, not just physically, but emotionally. And once that happens, everything changes. This is not about techniques. This is about identity. You must become the man who is comfortable with stillness, with silence, with not forcing outcomes. That is Stoicism win. That is old Stoic wisdom applied to modern relationships. And when you live this way consistently, when your actions come from an iron mind, you stop seeking attraction and you start creating it naturally, effortlessly, without pressure. If you understand this, you're already separating yourself from the crowd because most men rush, but few have the discipline to hold back. Real attraction doesn't come from chasing, it comes from awareness, from knowing when to step back, when to give space, when to truly see her. That's what builds emotional connection. That's what makes your presence feel different. So if you're ready to move with intention and create deeper attraction, drop this in the comments right now. I respect her space, and that's why she feels me. Way number 7, touch that invites, not takes. Way number 7, touch that invites, not takes, and you must understand this at a deep level if you want to truly grasp real attraction, because most men get this completely wrong. They think connection is about moving closer, about initiating more, about leading physically without pause. Don't do that. That is pressure, even when it looks subtle. And pressure quietly kills desire. The real psychology tricks here are simple, but powerful. Never take space, always offer space. That is the rule. You sit down, you lean back slightly, you create an opening instead of closing distance. Your arm rests naturally along the back of the couch, not reaching, not grabbing, just there, available. Your body says, "You're welcome here," but never says, "Come here now." That difference is everything. This is where female psychology becomes crystal clear. Desire grows strongest when it feels self-directed, not influenced. If she moves closer, if she leans in, if her shoulder brushes yours, that moment belongs to her. She chose it. And choice is the foundation of desire. Always has been, always will be. You must respect that. You must build around that. Because when a woman feels like she is stepping into connection on her own terms, something changes internally. She relaxes, she opens, she trusts. And trust is the gateway to how to fall in love in a real, lasting way. Don't rush this. Don't interrupt it. Don't try to help the moment along. Be still. Be present. Let the space do the work. That is what a grounded man understands. That is what separates surface level attraction from something deeper. And here's where most fail. They panic in silence. They think if nothing is happening, something is wrong. So they reach. They adjust. They try to create a reaction. Don't. Silence is not absence. Space is not rejection. It is an invitation waiting to be accepted. You must trust the process. You must trust your presence. Because when your energy is calm, when your posture is open but not needy, when your touch is offered but never imposed, you communicate something far more powerful than words. You communicate safety. And safety is what allows attraction to grow without resistance. This is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks, yet it sits at the core of female psychology. A woman does not fall for the man who pushes the moment forward. She is drawn to the man who holds the moment steady and lets her step into it. That is how to fall in love in a way that feels natural, not forced. So be intentional. Sit with quiet confidence. Create space and leave it untouched. Let her decide. Let her move. Let her feel that she is not being guided, but choosing freely. Because the moment she feels ownership over that connection, it becomes real to her. It becomes something she invests in. And what people invest in, they value. What they value, they protect. And what they protect, they grow. That is the deeper game. That is the quiet power behind attraction. So don't chase closeness, invite it. Don't reach for her, create a space she wants to enter. That is how you shift from trying to attract to naturally being chosen. Way number 8, slow movement around her. Most men rush without realizing it, and that is exactly where they lose the deeper game. Fast movements create tension. They signal impatience, uncertainty, even a subtle need to prove something. Don't move like you're trying to impress. Don't move like you're chasing a result. Be deliberate. Be grounded. Slow movements signal control. That is what a high-value man understands. Presence is not loud, it is steady. When you adjust your position slowly, when you stand up without urgency, when your hands move with calm intention, you are telling her something without speaking. I am in control of myself. And that message lands deeper than any clever words ever could. This is not about acting slow in an exaggerated way. That would feel unnatural. That would break the spell. This is about removing unnecessary speed. Let your body reflect a calm mind. When you reach for a glass, do it smoothly. When you turn toward her, do it with ease. When you gesture, keep it measured. That is how masculine energy expresses itself, not through force, but through quiet certainty. A man who moves slowly is a man who is not rushed by fear, not driven by approval, not controlled by the moment. And that is deeply attractive. Now here is where it becomes even more powerful. Her body begins to respond. Not consciously at first, but instinctively. This is what psychologists call nervous system mirroring. When you remain calm, her body starts to match that rhythm. Her breathing softens. Her posture relaxes. Her guard lowers without her even realizing why. You are not forcing connection. You are creating the conditions for it to happen naturally. That is the difference. Don't try to make her feel something. Be the environment where she can feel it on her own. Think about it. In a world full of noise, speed, and pressure, calm becomes rare. And what is rare becomes valuable. That is why a high value man does not compete with chaos, he stands apart from it. He slows down when others rush. He listens when others interrupt. He pauses when others react. That contrast is magnetic. It draws people in without effort. It allows you to attract women not through tricks, but through presence. But here's the mistake many men make. They hear this and think it's just about physical movement. It's not. It's about internal pace. If your mind is racing, your body will betray you. If you're anxious, it will show in the smallest gestures. So you must train yourself. Slow your thoughts. Breathe deeper. Stay aware. That is the foundation. Because true masculine energy is not something you perform, it's something you embody. There's a quiet power in restraint. When you don't rush to fill silence, when you don't rush to touch, when you don't rush to prove yourself, that space you create, it allows anticipation to grow. It allows her curiosity to build. It allows connection to deepen without pressure. As the old saying goes, still waters run deep. And depth is what people crave, even if they don't always know how to ask for it. So don't underestimate this. Slow movement is not a small detail. It is a signal. It communicates confidence, control, and emotional stability all at once. It tells her she is safe to relax, safe to open, safe to be present. And when a woman feels that, she leans in, not because you chased her, but because she feels drawn. You must practice this intentionally. Walk slower. Speak with pauses. Move your hands with purpose. Let your presence fill the space instead of your actions trying to compensate. This is how a high-value man operates. This is how you naturally attract women without forcing attraction. This is how masculine energy becomes something she can feel, not just observe. In the end, remember this. Speed creates noise, but slowness creates meaning. And if you want to be remembered, if you want to stand out, if you want to build real connection, then don't rush the moment. Own it. Slow it down. Let her feel you before you ever try to impress her. That is where the real shift happens. If this resonated with you, don't just watch, apply it. Slow down. Be intentional. That's where real connection begins. Like the video, subscribe for more powerful insights, and share this with someone who needs it. Now drop this in the comments to lock it in. I move with calm control, and connection follows me naturally. Way number 9, knowing when not to touch. Way number 9, knowing when not to touch. This is where real mastery begins, and very few men ever reach it because it requires something deeper than technique. It requires control. It requires presence. It requires what old Stoic wisdom has taught for centuries. Power is not in action. It is in restraint. You must understand this clearly. Sometimes the strongest move you can make is no move at all, especially when the moment feels charged, emotional, almost magnetic. Because in that exact moment, when everything inside you wants to act, to reach, to close the gap, you choose stillness. And that stillness speaks louder than any touch ever could. It says, without words, I am in control. I am not driven by impulse. I choose, I do not chase. And that level of composure is rare. It is magnetic. It is unforgettable. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. And this is exactly what separates the average man from the one who carries an iron mind. Because the average man reacts, he rushes, he fills silence with movement, he confuses action with value. But a man grounded in Stoicism understands that attraction does not grow in noise. It grows in tension, in space, in anticipation, in the quiet moments where nothing happens, but everything is felt. Look around modern life. Everything is fast, messages are instant, attention is short. People are constantly reaching, constantly proving, constantly seeking validation. And because of that, restraint has become rare. And rarity creates value. So when you step back instead of forward, when you pause instead of acting, when you allow the moment to breathe instead of forcing it, you immediately stand out. You create a different emotional experience, one that feels calm, grounded, and safe. Do not underestimate this. Women, especially mature women, are highly attuned to emotional energy. They feel the difference between a man who is trying to get something and a man who is simply present. And when you hold back at the right moment, you communicate confidence at the highest level because you are showing that you are not dependent on the outcome, you are not controlled by desire, you are not trying to rush the process, you are allowing it to unfold naturally. And that is where attraction deepens, not in what you do, but in what you choose not to do. Remember this clearly: men who rush lose power, men who doubt lose presence, men who overthink lose connection. But men who remain still, who stay grounded, who trust the moment, they win without effort. They attract without chasing. They create curiosity without saying a word. This is why old Stoic wisdom emphasizes discipline over impulse. Because discipline creates consistency, and consistency builds trust, and trust builds attraction. You must train yourself to be comfortable in that silence, in that pause, in that space where nothing is happening externally, but everything is aligning internally. Because that is where your iron mind is tested. That is where your strength is revealed, not when things are easy, but when tension rises and you remain calm, when the urge to act appears and you choose restraint. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And in this context, mastery of yourself means you are not controlled by the need to touch, to impress, to escalate. You are grounded. You are centered. You are enough as you are in that moment. And here is the truth most men never hear: attraction is not built through constant action. It is built through emotional contrast, through moments of presence followed by space, through engagement followed by withdrawal, through connection that is felt, not forced. So when the moment feels intense, do not rush to fill it. Do not break it with unnecessary movement. Do not interrupt the energy that is building. Instead, hold it. Let it expand. Let her feel it. Let her lean into it. Because when you do that, you create something far more powerful than touch. You create anticipation. And anticipation is the seed of desire. This is Stoicism when in action. This is old Stoic wisdom applied to modern relationships. This is how a man develops an iron mind that does not chase validation but naturally attracts it. So remember, do not rush, do not doubt, do not overthink. Be still, be grounded, be in control. Because in that stillness, in that quiet confidence, you become unforgettable, not because of what you did, but because of what you chose not to do. All right, my friend, we're going to close this out the right way: simple, clear, and strong. Listen, everything you've just learned comes down to one truth. Touch is not about doing more, it's about doing it right. Slow, calm, intentional. You don't rush it. You don't force it. You allow it. Because the moment you stay grounded, when you move with control and awareness, she feels it. She feels safe. She feels understood. And that's where real connection begins. So next time, don't try to impress, be present. Slow down. Pause before you act. Let the moment breathe. That's how you stand out without saying a word. If this helped you, stay with me, because the next video will show you how to build this presence naturally, so it becomes who you are, not just something you try to do. I'll see you there.